much for being here. I think I know everybody at this point, but I'm Blake Cohn. I'm the Executive Director of the National Network of Schools in Partnership. We're thrilled you're here. I'm imagining most of you are here because you've been with us the last couple weeks talking about what community engagement and partnership programs and social impact classes look like in this strange frontier of distance learning. Before we start, I'm just going to remind you a couple of things. One is that we are recording. I will clean it up, but I will share it out with people who haven't been able to be here, and for your own reference to share with anybody in your community if you find this to be useful, to share with others. If everybody could mute when they're not speaking, that helps with A, the recording, and B, just general understanding one another. Three is if you want to talk, this is a smaller group than we've had in the past, and we did that intentionally. If you want to ask a question, I suggest you either use the raise your hand function or use the chat function, which is in the bottom bar. You can raise your hand in the bottom bar under participants, and you find your name, and there's a thing that says, it has a little hand icon, raise your hand. And the chat function is on the right hand. It's also down below. It's a little bubble with 3 dots. If you click it, it'll pop up on the right hand side, and we can all ask questions, as well as if you have something to share you think that might be useful, type it in there. That is also archived, so I can share that out with us, websites, dates of events, etc. Please feel free to use that as you will. What are the other things I was going to remind us to do? That's about it. I'm really, really excited to be here. I'm going to let Laura introduce herself, and then I'm going to start to walk us through what this is going to look like. We are hoping that it'll be a mixture of what we've done in the past 2 weeks, but also a real chance to explore what these programs might look like in actuality for you personally in your schools. So before we get into that, Laura.
Hello, everybody. I'm Laura Day. I am the Executive Director of the Institute for Social Impact at Hockaday. It's in Dallas, Texas. It's a pre-K to 12th grade private school, an all-girls school. This will be my 9th year there. I originally, just so people can relate, I originally was the community service director, and then I was the service learning director. And then everything started to evolve, and it needed a bigger kind of concept. So we called it social impact, because now we're really tracking data on our impact in Dallas. And that's kind of where we're shifting to make sure we're moving the needle in some areas. I also do consulting on the side with day advisors, where I'll work with schools and people who are trying to do this work, or schools who are trying to do this work. So those are my 2 areas, and I'm excited to share everything I can and learn with you as well.
Thank you, Laura. So I want to start by just touching base about where we are as as practitioners. And can everybody see my screen? Yes. Okay. So where we are is that things are changing on a daily basis. I mean, really, it's different every day. Our schools are approaching this distance learning themselves, even when they think that they have a clear path. They are shifting based on feedback from their teachers, from their students, from their parents, from their peers. So what's amazing to me is how flexible everybody is being in this discovery process. I've been thinking about like what exactly is changing every day, and what is changing is how we're approaching teaching our kids, how we're assessing our kids. Are we using pass fail? Are we using portfolios? Are we using traditional grades? Are we doing it based on effort, or are we doing it based on mastery of skills? How are we using time? You see a lot less classroom time being given out currently. They're suggesting as little as an hour for elementary school students a day to 3 to 4 hours for high schoolers. So how does that shift our approach of time use for what we're talking about in community engagement and partnership programs? And then I really think the two most important things that we're seeing right now that's changing is through all of these changes, what is rising to the top is what we value the most. I have heard more and more about how social emotional learning should be the number one priority of our students in this time. I slightly wonder, why is that not the number one priority of our students all of the time? Um, and we're talking about this resurgence of values of the arts and of extracurriculars and getting outside and being engaged. And again, I question, why is it taking us to be forced into isolation to really place a value on that? And I am an optimist, so I'm not going to sit and wallow in the negative parts of this, but rather look at this as real opportunities for us, because those are real exclamations of what our work is worth and how important it is and how it should be important today, and also in 12 months from today, when perhaps we've gone back to a more traditional educational landscape, maybe. And then finally, I have to say, and I will say this till I'm blue in the face, the adaptability of teachers and what they are doing currently to meet the needs of their community is just amazing. And we're asking so much of them, and they're overwhelmed, but they are not stepping back from what they're trying to do. They are not disregarding the needs of their students or of their community. And so that to me also, it's just such an opportunity for us as community engagement and service learning and community impact and social impact, whatever you want to call it. It gives us real opportunity right now. So with everything that's changing and how we can see all the opportunities in that, I see things that also remain the same, right? What remains the same is the immense mental health benefits that come from having kids be engaged in something that's greater than themselves, right? The being connected and feeling purposeful and really doing something for somebody that's outside of their bubble really helps with kids' mental health. There's never been a greater time to really value our critical character skills, listening, humility, compassion, empathy. We are drawing on those immensely. I mean, you're drawing on them when we're asking kids to stay at home, period, right? You're really asking them to develop empathy for people that are not in their circles, when you're asking them to stay home and to socially distance and isolate themselves. And then never before have we had more glaring need from our community partners. And so now is a really, really amazing time to ask our community partners, what can we do for you? And then also, kids just need to feel useful like the rest of us. They need to feel connected to the world. They need to feel like there's a reason why they're staying at home, and they need to find a purpose, something that's greater than themselves. So I think really what I hope to get out of today is to take these things that are changing and view them as these amazing opportunities for us to really enhance the work of community engagement and partnership work, and take what we always have known as true and still remains true today, and converge those two to create some amazing opportunities in our schools that both value what we know on a day-to-day basis, but also honor the fact that we're stuck in our homes and we're in distance learning. And then the grand end result will be that we have set the platform for, as we go back to more traditional schools and we go back to being able to be out in our community and we go back to being in our school, our relationships with our partners will be stronger. Our teachers will see us as assets and will value the impact that this work does for their schools, and that your school itself really has helped define itself as valuing community engagement and partnership for the growth of students as a whole, and what we're seeing as really truly the most important characteristics of a graduate of any program, which would be these character skills and these abilities to give greater than themselves. And so what was brought to our attention yesterday were these questions by the Novus Project. Novus Project is a group out of Savannah, Georgia, I believe, and they do professional development and they do some teacher trips. But I loved these questions when they were they were shared with me yesterday. And I just think that as we're talking about what this looks like and how we're going to reshape something that we're doing in our school to meet distance learning or remote learning, I think it's also really important to think of these sort of larger, grander questions about how has the pandemic highlighted social systems of inequity? Do we want to return to the status quo? Where do I and my students have agency in creating change? Have I reached out to my community partners? How can I support them in times of crisis and uncertainty? And the pandemic highlights the necessity of understanding our global shared fate and interconnectedness. Where can I bring these discussions to my teachings? And history is likely to repeat itself. So how are we collecting what we're learning currently? So I just want to put those in the back of our head as we start this process, and just sort of have those as the overarching guiding questions. But really what we're going to do today is Laura's going to share with us ways that she has at her school brought this work into co-curricular programs, curricular programs, and then also how she's really helped strengthen her partner relationships. She's also going to share with us this amazing YouTube project that she is doing with hers, which is replicable on a very small scale and also on a very big scale that she is doing. But just want to remind you that Laura said it about herself at the beginning. She started out as a community service director, and it's taken her some time to get to where she is. But what I love about the programs she shares is that they feel relatable to everybody. So there's always a way that if you feel overwhelmed by the size or the nature of a program, the way that Laura is describing it always makes it feel like I can do this with my school because it's not overly complicated. So Laura's going to share with us, and then we'll have time for questions. We've left about 15 minutes of time for questions after she's done, and then we plan to go into breakout groups and work on our repurposing action plan in small groups to really take something that you want to ponder over how you can start working it into your distance learning curriculum. So are there any questions at this point? Okay, Laura, I'm going to turn it to you.
Great. Roll into that next slide. All right. Hello, everybody. I'm going to try to keep as entertaining, exciting as possible because being on Zoom forever is hard. So let's try to keep it exciting. I also am happy for people to interrupt me and ask questions in the middle, and I'll stop probably after each concept area. I thought it was helpful just in thinking and doing this work, like I'm going to talk through how you can try to do this work in classes, how you can do it in things that aren't classes, and how you can do it in a way that I think most people could adapt. Like right now, one thing we're doing is citywide. And so I'll get to that as well. It can also be school-wide. It doesn't have to be so big. I want to also say, and you all know this, teachers are overwhelmed, and calling somebody up to tell them all these new ideas would really overwhelm them. So just understand, for me, there's a real, some of this stuff was already in motion and we repurposed what we were going to do already. And I offered myself to the teacher of that class saying, reach out to me. I'll help you think about this when you're available. Some of it was me talking to someone in lower school that I trust and saying, hey, you're on that lower school meeting tomorrow. Let me know if they're ready for this. I'm going to create what they can do and tell me who's ready. And how that's worked there is, you know, like maybe second grade felt like they could handle it, you know? So I'm not trying to, and this is just maybe stuff you already probably know. This is just the stuff I've had to do in order to not feel like I got all these ideas and cramming them on you. I'm more trying to find the areas I can get in, do it in a way that I'm offloading, and also offering to teachers to take 10 minutes to do 15 minutes here, and getting them to see that. And so that's what I bring to you. So we're going to go back to curriculum. Blake, I think we got to co-curriculum. Thank you. Awesome. So let's talk a little bit about these three subjects. I just picked them at random. I'm happy to offer other things too. And I'm going to give you some specifics and even show you some stuff on my screen. That's how we make it exciting and differentiate on Zoom, is off of my face and on to another place. So first, we have in first grade, our theme is animals. Maybe many of your lower schools, those of you that are involved in lower schools, are studying animals. It's a pretty popular thing to do. We are repurposing the animal research project, and they are going to write letters from their homes to the people who are in charge of making endangered animal decisions. You can Google it. In your state, it's a different person than federally, and you can choose who you want to write those letters to. And our kids are drawing pictures of the animal and writing these advocacy letters. And it's a way for them to feel like they have some sort of control. That's what I've kind of been looking at a little bit, even with littler kids, is how do we give them the ability in this time to feel like they can do something? You know, like you've seen the kids putting chalk on their front stoops and their streets. You know, there's a lot of ways that kids can do that. And this is just a way curricularly they can actually take some onus on themselves, which is nice. This next thing that we do, and this is an upper school class, this is in biology. We're gonna do a Shark Tank style pitch next Friday, and it's on Zoom. We've invited some community leaders to be the judges. We had this in motion already. And the students are going to do everything, and the Shark Tank is all gonna take place on a Zoom. And like everything else you guys have been doing, I thought what might be fun to show you guys, screen share time, everyone. Yes, that's fine. Here we go. I thought it might be really fun to show you guys. Don't worry, it's gonna work. Not that. This is really exciting, isn't it? Okay. All right. Do any of you all use Flipgrid? It's really helpful. If you don't, look into it. It's really easy for kids. It's a video. You can set the link. They literally, and I do this, you just shove your iPhone in your face and you say what you want to say and it goes here. This is how we had our kids show their final prototypes. And this was a way which was kind of cool. So all of these kids were able to post a video about what their idea is. Now, normally I'd be there, I'd touch it, I'd look at it. I was able to see it because they did it on a video, and then I videoed them back. Great connection, great for me to talk. I even keep a box of props next to me if I want to pull those out to show what's going on. I thought maybe it'd be interesting to see their video. Everyone can hear this? No. That's another thing. Got it. Okay, this is a kid sharing their prototype.
For my group, with me, Eva, FrMG, and Anna Wood. So our prototype is a QR code sticker which you can scan, and then it takes you to a website where you can type in your zip code and find the nearest recycling site near you that will come and pick up your fridge for you. So it starts out with, so this is our prototype sticker. So if you scan this QR code, it will take you to our website, and our website, the homepage of.
You're not seeing the video. That's weird.
Hello, so.
All right, it's saying my screen sharing is paused. Is that helping?
I can't tell. All I see now is like a Flipgrid chat with Lisa Culbertson.
All right, I have an idea. Sorry, guys.
No worries.
All right.
There we go.
Cool. Great. Sorry, everybody. You know, it's a new frontier. So everybody heard what I was saying about how we use this, right? And this was where the kids put the prototypes. I wanted to show you that. So that's what I'm trying to do.
For my group, with me, Eva, FrMG, and Anna Wood. So our prototype is a QR code sticker which you can scan, and then it takes you to a website where you can type in your zip code and find the nearest recycling site near you that will come and pick up your fridge for you. So it starts out with, so this is our prototype sticker. So if you scan this QR code, it will take you to our website. And our website, the homepage of it starts with find the nearest recycling service to you, enter your zip code, and then you just enter your zip code and it finds the nearest location for you.
All right. So that is one, and Blake now can, I guess, share back her screen. That's one exciting way. I think Flipgrid's really helpful, but it's also a really interactive way for me to be able to see their prototypes and kind of live through the things, and the kids can show me and I can give feedback. And so next Friday, we'll have all those sharks hop on Zoom, and the kids will get to pitch their ideas, and we're going to do a run through on Zoom, which will maybe look a little better than what I just did, and show those sharks what they created.
I'm working.
Cool.
Somehow it kicked me out.
It's okay. I can answer questions on the right here.
I will be there in 1 second.
It's free. Flipgrid's free, and it can be used with anything, phone, you name it. It goes anywhere. It's a really, really useful tool, I think, right now. And you can set time limits. You can even make it just 30 seconds so kids don't go on and on. Kids can comment on each other's. It's a great way to share. It's been really helpful.
I apologize. I don't know what happened with the sharing, but it kicked me out of it logged me out of Gmail entirely. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, everybody is working on their patience with us.
Cool. So,
Go ahead.
great. So science, there was one other idea on science that I was going to talk about, and that one is the middle school. So we, sixth grade, our theme is water. They study a lot about water. I'm sure some of your middle school students are studying about water. We have a partner that I'm happy to share too. Living Water, they build wells all over the world, and we're going to have that woman in her house. She has a lot of the props already because that's what she does, and she's going to talk about how communities develop where they put the water wells in different cities. And so our kids are gonna try to do that themselves from learning for how do they go in and partner with the community to build a water well, and where do you put it, and where do you put the livestock, and where do you do that kind of thing. So it's an interactive way for them to understand the issue of water, understand what happens in a global setting, but then also learn from an expert who can talk about the science and STEM around how you actually build a water well when you can't get the machinery there and you have to float it down the Amazon. How do you do that? You know, like all these really cool problem solving things. But I've found bringing experts from the outside in really helps with that. History class, you can do this any grade. I tend to do it more in middle and upper school. Our government class and our 8th grade American history class is going to do this. They're going to do their research, but they're going to tweak it a little bit and let kids take action around anything involving COVID-19. That can be anything they want. And I think, again, with that is to try to give power back to kids through the class. I love using classrooms because it's always a safer place to do it. And they're going to have to take action and show that they took that action. So it's either from a photo or Flipgrid or whatever, of them writing a letter or making a phone call or creating an online group or a petition or whatever it is. And that's the assessment they're going to do. So it's a way to use what they're learning in American history or government, but actually leverage that for them to be able to take action. It can be any action they want. They can maybe support what's happening and write a letter of support. They could, you know, handle something on a city level. It's a really cool way to talk about all the different branches and all the different levels of government and how to navigate those, but using a topic that they want to do something about, as opposed to sitting and being powerless. And then math is another idea. Goose Chase is something maybe some of you are familiar with. It's something that we've found really helpful in our math class. Our math right now in 9th grade uses this during the school year, where they create scavenger hunts. It's an app that easily downloadable on your phone. It's free. You can do a scavenger hunt around math that's found. So we were doing this at a local middle school where we were finding math in their courtyard, in their classroom. So that way they could do the goose chase and run around and find algebra where it was alive. We were trying to help kids understand algebra by 8th grade because that's a goal of our public schools. Now, obviously everyone's home and that project, they can't run around the school and use it. So we've shifted and we communicated with the math teacher that we worked with at the local middle school. And she gave us the number, like top 10 things she's trying to get them to understand. So our girls are using their houses, using a desk, using whatever, and they're building goose chases at home that show how math lives in the world, which I think if you're like me, that helps me understand math, that it actually is relevant. Like the reason that I'm upstairs right now is because some sort of math helped me stay up here, right? Like show what does that mean and how does that happen? And they use goose chases. They take a picture and then you have to actually complete the exercise to go to the next one. And it's like a game or a quiz. So it's free. We've shared the information with the teacher who can share it with the students. So as our kids create goose chases, their students are going to be able to do those at their houses. It's a little complicated, I understand, but really it's doable in the sense that if you just you could have them even make goose chases for your lower school, your middle school. It's a way to connect kids, but it also helps your bigger kids feel like, I can explain this stuff, and now I understand why my desk is standing. It's actually an algebraic, formula or whatever. So really helpful, really relational. I'm going to stop for a second. Obviously, there's a lot of other subjects and things like that I'm happy to talk about, or I'm also happy to answer any questions about anything I've said here.
Laura, did you say that there's a download or how do we get the goose chase sort of logistics? Where is that?
Yeah, you can look on the website. You can check it out there, or you can get it at the App Store.
Okay.
And both are pretty self-explanatory. And kids, if you give it to high school kids, they're like on it and they have it all uploaded and ready to go. This idea actually came from them because we posed to them the first class that they weren't at school. How do we keep this going? And one of them's like, why don't we make them at home? And that's how they did it, which was cool.
And it's just goosechase.com.
Anything else about curriculum or any subjects I didn't touch on that anybody has a particular question about?
So Laura, I have a question for you. So much of this you talk about you've already sort of had in your classroom. What are your suggestions if you don't already have this already sort of structured in your classroom? Where would your first steps be?
Yep, let me show you. Let's try share your screen again, everybody. Get ready. All right, so this is a document I created the first couple days on distance learning. These were my first initial passes at ideas for our grade levels. So we happen to have themes in our grade levels, so I tried to stay within those. But what I did is think of all simple things that connected to theme or connected to their curriculum that they could possibly do, and I put the websites in there if needed. Again, because I'm 9 years in, I'm at a place now where I have a lower school helper, kind of like a liaison, who gets if you're at a school like mine, pre-K-12, every division has a different personality and a different way to navigate it. And so this woman's very good at navigating lower school. And so she and I talked and I said, I've made a list. If you in your level meetings with teachers, and I sent it to the head of our lower school, if you want to share this with them and let them know, 1, I'll help them. And 2, it's all pretty self-explanatory. And 3, a handful of each from each grade probably connects to the stuff they're studying, and tell them they can use that. And so this, I started early and I sent out, and slowly I hear back, slowly a grade's ready to take it. Slowly somebody has a question, things like that. So that's how I approached the lower school about this. And similarly with the middle school, I have a document just like this for the middle school that I sent out. Talked to people in middle school, and slowly we found places for it to land. Didn't land everywhere, and it's out there if they need it. It's on our resource page. Also shared it with our communications department, and all of this now lives on our website for COVID-19 response. So if you're in 3rd grade and you want to go check out what you could do, that way the parents could also access it. So put it in multiple places so it didn't have to necessarily be a burden for the teacher. All right, Blake, you got to bring it back up again. All right, so I'm just making sure there's any other questions. I'm not, okay, good. You got Goose Chase. So that's curriculum, and that's where we're at. And we all know that's probably one of the harder places to get in. Co-curriculum, I don't know about your schools. I know a lot of schools are in different places where some schools have all their clubs are meeting, and some schools haven't even thought of club meetings. You know, like I think we're in all different places in that. But I'm going to talk through all the different ways we've found inroads in co-curriculum. Great. So for athletics, this will tie into a bigger project that we're doing later. We're having the captains of each team and the coaches of each team in middle and upper school share with their teams. So it's a way to give them leadership. Will you make a video of yourself teaching something about the sport? I know most of our student athletes who got their spring season taken away feel a little powerless and sad that they're not going to get to play that sport. And so we're trying to get that motivation and have them get outside and teach these videos. I'll talk about how we're sharing these videos, but we're sharing them with a lot of our nonprofit partners as well as with our public school system. But it's a really good way for the athletics to do this. We also have been putting it on our social media, which a lot of schools I've seen have done. So that way lower school kids can learn from upper school kids or middle school kids these skills. The arts. So I just focused here on drama. We're repurposing almost all of our art and music programs to do social impact because I guess at this point, why not? Some performances may take place, but most of them have been canceled. And so we're trying to use their powers and skills for good and help. I think a lot of what's happened to public schools and nonprofits is these supplemental fun, exciting things are not there anymore for them. And so we thought, since we know these places, let us create that. So all of our drama classes are having to rehearse monologues about women, historic women or current women, their stories, and are recording those. And we're sharing those with our middle school partners. And I'll explain how I've kind of sussed through who needs stuff and what do we give partners and how do you figure that out, because that can be complicated as well. But drama can absolutely be repurposed. It can absolutely be meaningful material that they do, and it can absolutely be shared with people to watch. A lot of public school systems, ours near us, needs help with supplemental distance learning. They've done the bare bones of what kids maybe need, but they need supplemental materials. And so that was where we were able to step in and help. You could do this as little as middle school, maybe even 4th, 5th grade. I mean, all of these things are doable at younger ages. That right now we're doing with our high school kids. Okay, clubs. Again, I feel like there are about 85 clubs at our school. It's like a real popular thing to do, create your club. And a lot of those clubs are wildly and excitingly coming out of the woodworks. I created 2 weeks ago, a Zoom call that I invited all the students to and said, if you want to give back or you're in a club and you want to be helpful, jump on this Zoom with me. And I had a lot of kids jump on, and a lot of kids who had already had a club called Random Acts of Kindness, or we have a Teach for America club, or we have a knitting club. So what I have done is meet or talk with, and some have done it on their own, these clubs, and they're doing the project, but they're doing it for something that's helpful now. Our Random Acts of Kindness club, rightfully so, for the kids who start a Random Acts of Kindness club, reached out to me and said, how can I be helpful right now? And what we did is connect them with a student group who's starting to sew masks and get masks to doctors. And so now our Random Acts of Kindness club is partnered with that group. And they have a whole system they've created about mask creation, where they're putting them. They're dropping them off on a teacher's porch, and then someone's driving them to hospitals. And a lot of our kids' parents are doctors, so we know the hospitals that need them. So that's its own little microcosm that's popped up out of nowhere. But I've helped repurpose as many clubs as I can, and will continue to do that. As I hear issues that people need, I'll kind of funnel them that way. It's just a really good thing to think about. I have a list of the clubs, maybe you do. If not, you could ask whoever's in charge of that. And I looked through and saw which clubs could really be helpful at this time and how I could help them see how they could be helpful. It's a great group of kids that's already interested in an area. You just got to kind of turn them in the direction that your community needs them. Some of our mentoring groups have gone virtual with mentoring with kids. Global mentorship is happening, and that kind of thing. All right, is that you? Cool, okay, awesome. Any questions about co-curriculum stuff? Okay. All right, everybody, here we go. So what I thought I'd do is try to deconstruct this YouTube idea that we've created so you too can do it. We will share all of this with you. I will tell you what this YouTube idea is, and I'm going to break it up piece by piece to try to help you to do it. You can do it on a giant scale, or you could do it with one class that goes to another class. We've gone over and above and crazy here, and now about 18 high schools are involved in this. So that's crazy. And we started it and then launched it off, but it could be that big. It could be your whole city, and it could be just your school. So please know that. Okay, first, you have to figure out what distance learning needs either a nonprofit has, your senior home partner, your public school, your charter school down the street. What do they need? We found out, because we have a nonprofit that we work with, that pretty early on, the overwhelmingness in Dallas ISD was going to be how to give them enrichment, how to give students enrichment. We work to get hotspots and laptops to almost all of the schools that we work with. So I know that's always a question. So that's out there. And that's something I know that we're lucky that we were able to do early on. And that can be a barrier. Find people who have some access. Most kids have access to a phone, which we do know. So that can be helpful. Data is the problem there, right? But we knew they needed enrichment. Then I sent an email to a couple of my key kids at my school, which a lot of you have. Everybody knows a couple people who can make things happen or who would be ready to go. Every school has one of those kids who wants to do this. And I told them my idea. What if we create a YouTube channel where we upload videos of all of you guys reading books and saying what grade level they are, reading books in Spanish, teaching sports, doing dance, explaining musical instruments, basically getting at the opportunity gap that we're always trying to look at, but we're going to do it through videos. And they said, what a great idea. And they know YouTube way better than I do. I just kind of like go there every so often. I don't know about YouTube. So we put a structure of kids in charge. Sharing screen. Here we go. I'm getting good at this. It's exciting. Okay, cool. All right, I'm showing you the email. Now, this is a kid who took it on. Now, here's another thing you can do. I don't know if you have Girl Scouts at your schools or Boy Scouts that have gold awards and these things. Everyone still needs to do those Eagle Scout projects and those gold award projects, and they have no idea what to do. So I grabbed some gold award kids because they have to do it and it has to be sustainable and they have a background. So I have a gold award kid here who's made her project this, which is awesome because there's a lot of accountability in that. Here's the email she sent out, how to get involved. And so she made a set, and I'll show you, a set of instructions of what the video needs to look like and what it needs to be. Obviously adults were involved in this. She created her own web email that people can send to her, and then a Google Doc that all the videos are loaded onto. So that way there's a place to capture the videos, and her job is to get them, make sure they're appropriate. People were worried about that. I wasn't, but maybe that's because I don't worry about things enough. Look at the video, get them from the Google Doc, and load them onto our YouTube channel. And that's what she's doing. Now, it has to be shot in landscape. That's just something we use because it's way easier because people could do it all over the place and it wouldn't look uniformed. And then she was smart. She got heads of different departments. So our future chair of arts, Kylie and Kemper, are in charge of the art videos. So they go through all the art videos and try to drum up support. Same with science, same with sports, and same with reading. Those kids at the bottom are some of our leading tutors. And so they're in charge of that. So not only is she involved, but now she's got people working with her or for her to get all of this to happen. And they're soliciting help from all the people they know. And so now I know as an adult involved, if I need to get something to happen, I make sure the athletic director's talking to Margaret and Lena so they can make those videos. And those are the Dropbox sites. Hold on, let me do it this way. Let me pause there before I move to any more steps. Is this helpful to go piece by piece on this for people? Okay.
You bet.
Great. I know it's annoying, but sometimes you got to really like break it down because it's a big thing, but I think it's really doable when you break it into pieces. So we're going to share again. I'm going to show you something else. Good, here we go. Now here is also something that went out. This is for the reading videos, because for us and for the other things, but the reading videos mattered to us because we were making sure, and we can't ensure this, but we want to try to help as much as we can with the literacy initiative. That's a big part of what we do in Dallas. So we put this out there, you know, that they're gonna reach, if you see 15,000 children are gonna reach it. Now, if you want kids to get involved, they're gonna have 15,000 viewers. That's all kids want. They're like, they love that. Like I can go dunk a basketball and 15,000 DISD kids are going to check that out. We have this kid who's going to go to Duke to play basketball, and I like harassed him. He's at the boys' school. His sister goes to our school. I was like, get him to dunk and teach kids how to do that because they're going to love it. And that's so fun. And he loved the fact 15,000 kids would have access to seeing it. So it's playing at all the things. This is our instructions. This is our step-by-step how to do it. So that way they know. They mention what target age the book is that they're reading because we don't want to miss target and we want to make sure we're reading. And this is how you do it. So this is that. And I can share this with people if they want to roll this out themselves.
Laura, can I ask a question?
Of course.
This is so brilliant. I want to jump off this meeting and start this right now. And
Great.
One huge factor I have to think about for our students is just the privacy of the students' images and what sort of permission slip, what do you have going on so parents are like, yeah, my kid can have their image out on the web like
Good
that.
question. We as a school, because I do a lot of weird stuff like this, get them to sign their children's lives away at the beginning of the year. Onto things like this. We also, you'll see that with the arts, the science, and the athletics, it's actually going to be run through teams. The art programs all run through class, so they're getting permission through classes. The reading program is our tutoring group, and we've already asked before for permission to share videos of them because something we're going to launch next week is going to be online virtual tutoring. And I can talk about that at the end if people are interested, but we have to also get, we can only do that because at the beginning of the year, we had them say, we can be on videos, we can be on photos, and everybody said yes.
Wow.
So
I'm wondering if that's brilliant. That's so wonderful. And I'm just wondering if somebody on this meeting is also in the same position I am and they're working on something and they have some permission slip that they're getting ready and they can share that. That would be a fantastic resource for me because we don't have that. We only have that blanket form is for us to share images amongst our own school community, but not with the broader community. So that's what's holding us back at this point.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's helpful. Yeah, of course. Blake, do you mind going back to your slide? Any questions while I'm sitting here? I'm just seeing if there's anything. Okay. I'll share all these documents with everybody too, if that's helpful.
Yes, thank you.
So that way you can use the language and see the parameters we used and see how we broke it up. This is good. Everyone take a minute. We can look away from our screens. Great. All right. It's like the first time I've done that in like, I don't know, 7 hours. Cool. All right. So I'm going to show you, and sorry, Blake, that I made you do that, but I just think it's helpful to have kind of the steps in order. I just want to see how many times we can go back and forth sharing screens. That's exciting. All right, so the next thing is the YouTube channel. And so once you have your kids, once you have the Dropbox, once you have everybody in place, and I'm talking, you can think what I'm saying is huge, or you can just get it to one little piece. And once you have everybody and you've started to put those videos on YouTube, then you can share it out with people. I thought maybe you'd like to see the YouTube channel. It's kind of fun. I like to go to it. And now, goodbye, Blake. I'm so sorry. We're back to my screen. I'm going to show everyone the YouTube channel. Oh, just my screen in general. That's helpful. Okay, guys, here we go. Awesome. So let's go to the YouTube channel, and here it is. So here are all the things we have. It's amazing how fast it's happened. Our dance, it was their required assignment of the week. They had to upload themselves teaching a dance. Now, here's an exciting byproduct of this. If you just did dance and you just sent it to one elderly home, you're going to be heroes, because the activities directors at senior homes are having trouble how to keep people active. So now we have one of our partner senior homes is using these as their activity. So they're doing the dances the kids are teaching, which is pretty fun. And so that's just another use. We also have people who have taught about instruments and use that. You can see on here, they've done a lot of different things. There's some origami, there's some science things. One of the fun things that we're doing that I'm excited about, and I can even play one of these videos, is we're doing Bob Ross videos. So our arts class, 2 of our art classes assignment this 2 weeks is they have to make a Bob Ross video. Now, you might be concerned, and this is just because we have this infrastructure, how would the kids get the materials? Well, a lot of public schools are serving meals to public school families. And so what we've done is we have made art kits that are going out alongside of those meals. So that way kids have the art that they need when the kids are doing this. The kids who created the videos gave us the list of supplies they wanted. So that way we knew what we needed to buy. That way it wasn't too elaborate and we could keep it tight. We also can share this list with our homeless shelters, our homeless youth shelters, domestic violence shelters with children, senior homes, and we have. So I have a list of about 15 close partners that I've given this link to and given them the materials they need. And then on my social media, I sometimes ask for people to donate to their Amazon wish list so they're able to create it. We kept it very simple. I'm going to show you a couple of videos. That might be kind of fun. Let's watch, actually Kylie's is pretty fun. These are, as you can see, all of these kids, there's some reading. We had orchestra required this as a thing. So kids were teaching about their instrument and then playing a song. So everybody has a title.
Hi guys, I'm Kate C, and I'm going to be reading Bad Dog Marley. And so I'm going to read this book to you guys because when I was little, it was one of my favorite. There's a whole series, so pretty fun stuff. Okay. Bad Dog Marley. In a little house on Churchill Road lived a very happy family. There was one mommy, one daddy, one freckled-faced girl named Cassie.
So you get that part. So that is the books that we read. The other thing I will show you is there are a lot. It's amazing. I swear to you guys, a week and a half ago I had 2. And now it's popping up. And you know, one of the secrets was our students emailed their teachers and said, can this be an assignment for us in orchestra? We just had them reach out to the Spanish teachers and said, hey, instead of doing the poetry that we're doing, can we record ourselves doing a poetry in Spanish for kids? So that way we can reach most of our kids who are English language learners. and every teacher jumped on it. So now we're about to flood everything with these Spanish things as well, which is really helpful because it's our schools are highly Spanish speakers. All right, so you can see all the different ones. I'll show you one of the art ones. The other thing you should know is that, and we have our sports one. You can also on here go to playlist, which we created. And so now we have it based on the art series, the science series, the reading series, and the sports series. As you see, our sports need to ramp up. Don't worry, we're on it. That's the project for the athletics board this next week. But that's the plan for all of those. So what I want to show you real quick too is I'll show you.
Hi, I'm Veronica, and I'm a high schooler in the Dallas, Texas area. For this video, I'll be teaching.
All right, so this is one of our Bob Ross events that we've created.
Hey y'all, today I'm going to show you how to draw some cute little hoes.
And I did this digitally, but here's an example of me doing it with some Crayola Super Tips or any Crayola marker and a random black pen I found in my house. It looks just as good.
First, so the way I like to do it is I like to grab a pencil and just kind of like draw whatever shape you want. So here is a tall and skinny house. Doesn't have to be super accurate. The less accurate it is half the time, the more fun it is. It can be.
So you all get it. It's pretty cool. And we hope to keep having the kids get more into this. We're opening this starting soon up to middle school. We're also going to open up to fourth graders. We're going to let fourth graders read to pre-K students. So you can use this all the way down as far as you want it to go. So pretty helpful. So we're sharing those links right now. I'm sharing them with everybody I can think of that might be able to use them, not just schools, but community partners who might need these resources. And our students are really responding. They're excited, they think it's fun, they have some time on their hands to make YouTube videos, and it's been pretty successful. So there's one other part I'm going to talk about, but before I move on, I want to stop and make sure if people have any questions about the process, how to do it, like anything, I'm happy to take any questions.
Hi, this is Wendy Samet from Middle Grades Partnership. If you have public school partners working on this, are you having trouble at all with broadband accessibility, cellular accessibility for families who may have limited minutes, that kind of thing? I'll wait for answer.
Yeah, so in terms of them helping with this project, our public high school kids, yeah, we're having a little bit of trouble. There's a nonprofit that helps in our area. It's kind of like the Harlem Children's Home in a sense, but it's in this Dallas area. And so before 3 weeks ago, they ensured that everyone had hotspots, if not laptops that went home from fourth grade up. And so for us, that put us in a really good position that we knew almost everyone was able to access some form of this, which is not the case I know in a lot of places. So I can't speak for that. Also, our public library, right before all this happened, started to have hotspots. And so a lot of our high school kids got that. An innovative way to partner with high schools, just to say how we're doing with some of our collegiate academies, because a lot of our public high schools now have tracks. One of them is education. We're paying kids to tutor in our public high schools to do our online tutoring through a work study. And that's through a grant we got from a family. And so a family's paying money to a nonprofit that's paying high school kids to tutor and to do videos. And that's a way to get at a lot of things going on right now. And so that is just an innovative way we've been able to get public high school kids involved in this and also able to make money and help provide for their family. Any other questions before I move to that last piece?
Yeah, Bridget had her hand up.
Thank you. And Laura, this might be something that the students are able to work out because, like you mentioned, they're way more adept at YouTube probably than any of us. But something I was wondering, and I love the idea, I totally want to steal this. Is there a way that you know of that it's possible to sort of establish categories within your channel? Because then I'm thinking that we could push this out to some of our, we're only high school, so to some of our pre-K to 8 feeder schools, as well as to places like senior homes. And I imagine that they would be looking for different like categories within it.
You can section it out by, if you saw on playlist, you can also create different channels. We haven't gotten to different channels yet, but you can do that. I think that's just the necessity of the influx of videos this one kid is having to manage. So I think she's getting them up there, bless her, and putting a title page. And I think we have another adult who's jumping in now and trying to parse it out. So it's a little more like, we're going to try to get like pre-K2 in one section, you know, so a parent can easily access the books their kids should be getting read to them, and Spanish only. And, you know, I think it'll evolve as time goes on. And I think we're going to need it in the summer and a lot of other things. So I think it's a nice infrastructure to build now as we move forward.
And Bridget, in addition to the playlists, you can tag all of your videos on YouTube. So you could tag everything with what it wants. So a parent could go into your channel and say pre-K2, and then all the videos that are tagged pre-K2 will pop up. It's an extra step. I've seen professional YouTube channels, you know, ones that are making money. They have it broken out by.
You mean this isn't going to make money for us?
That's next week. That's next week's webinar. But I don't know how for free. We've tried to put it out to make those sort of sub channels, and we can't figure out how to do it, and we have not yet decided to invest in that. So you can, for starts, put those tags in and allow them to be searchable.
Okay, cool. I mean, that seems like a good start for us to play around with. Thank you both.
Hey, Laura. It's Buck Johnson from Berkeley Prep in Tampa.
Hi.
So does someone vet these videos before they're put online, and who does that?
An adult and a kid. Two people are kind of managing this. So that Gold Award kid you saw that sent out that email is looking at every one of them, putting a title on it and making sure it fits. And then this adult who's volunteered to do this is looking at the same video and is then putting it by playlist. So we have two eyes on it before it goes out. And now that it's gone, so now every private school in the area and every public school, high school in the area has gotten access to this. And soon we're going to youth groups and various other entities. So it's blowing up. It's like going to go Dallas wide as a way to get more people involved, because people want to use it and a lot of kids are going to start using it. So that is going to be interesting. I'm not there yet about what the management of that will look like. We may have to add some more volunteers, but I have a lot of people asking me how they can help. And I'll tell you, this might be what I send to them. You know, this might be the way to get people involved.
Sure. Well, it's mind-blowing what you're doing. It's really amazing. The adult that's doing this, is he or she on the Hockaday staff, or is it?
She's not. She helps as a liaison and a kind of volunteer in one of our public schools.
Okay, gotcha.
She just stepped up. A lot of people were interested. And Blake, do you mind going to my final slide?
I do.
Thanks so much.
You just asked.
The final slide, everybody, is how do you reach out and how do you know what partners need and what do you do and all of that? And I just want to very quickly touch on that before we open it up for any questions, and then we'll let you guys create your own masterpieces.
Can I say something before? Everybody should stop apologizing with the like, I want to steal it. Please don't steal it. That's why we're here. We're sharing it, right?
I want everyone to do this. I think the whole world could do it.
This is why we're putting this out here, is because it is replicable and it's really, really amazing. So that's the whole mantra of NNSP in the first place, is so people don't have to reinvent the wheel. So just, let's knock it off with the stealing and apologizing part, and let's just do it.
It's yours. All right. So here's how I've stayed connected and known what my community partners have needed, because they're a handful of other projects we're working on. And so this is how we knew to do those projects. So one of the major things, and I might be telling you things you already know, and that's great. And if not, then this maybe is helpful. Follow every group you can on social media, and follow them right now. And I read every day. I look and see what they're saying. They are all saying what they need. It's out there. The links that you can commit to, the things that they need, it's all that's out there. And so I've actually started right now, moving to the next point, is every day, either a student who runs a program can get in touch with me, or I can pick a program we're connected to and I highlight them on my social media. So today I highlighted our local youth shelter who needs books, because the kids are trapped there and there's not a lot to do and they're not allowed to have phones in this youth shelter and they're desperately needing books. I told that story and I put the Amazon wish list link there and sent that out on my social media. Every day I'll try to do that for a different organization that we have a relationship with. It's a good way to use our platform, and it's a good way for them to feel like I'm connected, I hear you, and I'm gonna help get your word out. And I know that by following them. They're busy, they're not gonna answer calls, they're not gonna get in touch with you. And so I am deducing what everyone needs based on what I'm seeing, and then I'll reach out. I'll say, hey, you need books. I can get this list out. Please, can you help me? And a lot of times my high school kids who are in charge of the projects are the ones that are feeding me the stuff, which I'm really lucky for that. Zoom opportunities. This morning, we were supposed to do a gentrification tour of West Dallas, which is a neighborhood that's started to get gentrified, in our AP Human Geography class. I asked the executive director if she would give us, she lives there, would you give us a walking tour and still tell the kids about this? I'll donate money to buy food for your families this week as a payment for your time. I'm not going to take more than 30 minutes of your time, but I'd love for you to tell us what's going on in your community. How is West Dallas impacted by COVID-19? And help our kids understand that so they can go be leaders. And I will donate money right now so you can buy food for your community. It's a great way to help them, and it's a great way for them to help you. And then again, any problems you come upon, you understand that are happening, try to see if there's a class that connects to, or a club that connects to, or a group that connects to, and pass that off to students. We have kids sewing masks now. We have a lot of things happening, and that's only because we knew that was a problem. And then I found the right group, and then we just had them shift their focus. It's this whole idea of repurposing that we're going to have you guys do. It's really helpful. And that is way too much of one person talking. So I'm going to stop, and you are going to get to do some work yourself and talk. And before we send you into your groups, we will pause for questions.
Elizabeth, go ahead. I saw your hand go up, but you're on mute.
All right. You mentioned also not just videos, but the tutoring or mentoring, kind of what I understood, kind of live mentoring. And we were thinking about that as well, but also wondering about being present in those, because we don't want to just connect a student to a child without some type of supervision. So how are you guys thinking about that as you do some more live interactions?
We are using the product. I'm going to write it. I'm getting better now. I can write things over here. Book Nook. Is anyone familiar with that? It's the guy who founded Reading Partners, which is out of Oakland for any of the California people. He left Reading Partners, and then he created a thing called Book Nook. And it originally this year, our kids used it at the schools, and it's an iPad that's navigating you how to teach reading and tracks progress. He, in the last month, converted that to a virtual platform, and now it can be shared between students, and it has the ability, and it has permission slips involved and all the things you would need for it to be okay. We're piloting that on Monday with 5 of our students we know, with students they've already been tutoring. That's how we're starting it. People they already have a relationship, the kids know, kids are excited to see them. We're gonna pilot that on Book Nook. Once that happens, we're gonna roll it out slowly with other kids like that. Then we're gonna open it up to other people. The parent on the end of the child has to sign off. Book Nook has done a very good job about troubleshooting all of these things. We're gonna pilot it on Monday and make sure it works. And then I would encourage you to go to their website. It's free for the remaining, for up till to 2021. So all of y'all can get your hands on it and use it with any of your partners. And it's a really good program, really helps with gains in literacy.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
No, okay, so what we intended to do, did everybody get the email yesterday where I suggested you print off Laura's repurposing, what did we call it? Action plan, gosh.
Action plan.
4 o'clock in the afternoon, my brain is turning to mush. Okay, I think because we are a smaller group than we anticipated, we're gonna go to 2 groups. So Laura will be in one group and I will be in another group. And what we're gonna do is give ourselves about 10 minutes. We can leave our mics open and we can talk, but 10 minutes to fill out the action plan and think about areas of opportunity. How can it connect to skills and competencies that are for that grade level or for your portrait of a graduate or what have you? What are your needs? What are possible challenges and what are the outcomes? I think also is important to think about who might be allies in helping this work get moved forward as you're starting to think about it. So does anybody have any questions about the process? What we're going to do is go till about 4:40. What are you laughing at me?
No, I was trying to send my email to everyone and I sent it to just one of you. So how lucky are you? You're the only one who can contact me. I'm just kidding. I'm going to send it to everybody.
I will include it with everything I will send out tomorrow.
Oh,
this recording gets synthesized and then I will send it all out. I'll have all our contact information. We should also say before, it seems like people are have to go. I should say that Laura and I are also going to run, we'll be doing more of these webinars, but we have shifted our summer learning this summer. Degrees of Impact is going to be 4 Tuesdays in June. It's usually a 36-hour event. It was supposed to be in Baltimore in March and it's supposed to be in Chicago this summer, but we're going to do 4 Tuesdays and run the same sort of program. And I see a couple of my Baltimore friends shaking their hands. I haven't sent the email out about how to process your deferred registration, so that is coming. But I would love for everybody to join us there. And then also in the works is in July, a conference in partnership with MobileServe, which is a app for tracking not just hours, but engagement with your students around community engagement. And that's going to be called the Do Good Conference.